Greene-George. Thank you for being here with us, all our viewers across Trinidad and Tobago and the wider Caribbean. This is Brunch on Tobago Updates, and we're here in beautiful Scarborough, Tobago, and I have with me right now a beautiful human being, Carissa Andrews Pilgrim, and she's the senior dietitian at WIC. She's going to tell us all about that. But before we get into that, Carissa and I were talking just before we got on, right? We were talking about women and how we hard on ourselves and looking for perfection. Just throwing it out there, ladies. Be kind to yourself.
Yes.
Tell that little voice in your head that always have a comment for you. Have a seat today. Give me a break, right? Today's Wednesday. Give me a chance. Right, Carissa?
Indeed.
Give me a chance this morning.
That is
so welcome,
important.
Carissa.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here with you, Joelle.
Same here.
Yeah.
It was so nice to meet you this morning.
Thank
Tell
you.
us about, one, what is a dietitian and what is WIC?
Absolutely. So a dietitian is a professional when it comes to nutrition. The title is interchangeable with nutritionist. As a matter of fact, some people are called a dietitian nutritionist.
Right.
So where they join both together. Dietitian is not really an old term, but it is a little bit aged, and nutritionist seems to be the more forthcoming of the century.
Right.
So yeah, some people merge them together, and some people prefer to be called a nutritionist, which I'm one of those people.
Yes, I can see why, because that word diet, even though, I understand the definition of diet means the food that you eat, what you ingest, right? That's just basically it.
Basic.
But the connotation is that you're dieting.
Right. And a lot of people they think when you say diet, for example, in my work, I call and I speak with moms and I say, okay, mommy, tell me about the child's diet. And the immediate response is, oh, she's not overweight. She's not on a diet.
Yes,
you see what I'm
that's
saying?
Exactly what
so
you're
it
saying.
tends to have a negative connotation. And that's not what it is at all. It really is just understanding what you're eating daily. So whatever you eat on a regular basis is your diet.
Exactly. So when they say dietitian, they mean somebody who is specializing in figuring out what a person should be eating.
At that point
a male
in time.
or a female for their age and for their body type too.
Exactly.
Okay.
And also for their hormone type, which is a very new and upcoming field that's very important.
There's so much to talk about.
So much to talk about.
Tell us what WIC is.
WIC, absolutely. So I work for women, infants, and children. That is what WIC represents, WIC. I see children all the way up to the age of 5. So from the time mommy is pregnant all the way up until baby is 5 years old, they remain with us as a client if the client so desires. They do not have to, but it is suggested. We specifically focus on women who are a little bit out of the regular income bracket. So they're low income, maybe not able to access as many, health specialists. They may be seeing, a general practitioner, but not able to, just have access to all the needs. And so in order to create a better tomorrow for our generations, it is important to start that at that moment. The impact of that beginning period of pregnancy all the way until the child is 2 years old is very, very, very important. As a matter of fact, all the way up to the age of 7. But that first set of months there in the first couple of years of life is very, very important to what that child accomplishes later on in life. As a matter of fact, there's a study that was recently released last year, late in the year. And it was just talking about the window. They call it a window of time. That window is just very important for mommy to be healthy as she can be. And when we talk about healthy, we're not just talking about her diet. We're talking about emotional, physical, her spiritual health. All of these pieces line up and actually affect that child all the way through the rest of their life. So not just, not just what they eat, but it affects them, their emotions, the way they think about life. If mommy experienced a death while she's pregnant and she, really takes that emotion on strongly. If mommy's being abused while she's pregnant, all of these things, sometimes children, you meet them later on in life, they're adults and they're saying, I don't know what's wrong with me. It's what mommy experienced while she was pregnant that is now affecting you at age 45.
There's so much to unpack there. Let me tell you, my brain is all over the place with this. So, first of all, where is Wick?
Okay, so Wick is in the United States. I am a Tobagonian.
Yes.
I presently live abroad.
Yes.
I presently serve in the state of New Jersey. And so Wick is in every state of the United States of America, and serves many different populations depending on where they're located. So I'm in the city of Newark, and we serve over 4,500 clients come through my office every month. They have to see a dietitian every 3 months in order to get their benefits. So this program that I work with also comes with food benefits, again, because these are underserved moms, right? So we want to make sure that they're getting everything that they need, not just nutrition, education, but also getting, milk if they need milk, and then, a variety of fruits and vegetables, anything to make sure that baby has a healthy start in those first 5 years of life.
Guys, well, first of all, let me just say, Carissa is a Tobagonian. Carissa, she from Azerbaijan, so she from about here.
Yeah, right? I love that.
So she's one of we.
Yes,
right?
indeed.
So she came home and she's here. She came early and I said, what you want to do? You could come back at 10:10.
Yes.
And she said, I'll go downstairs and meet my parents because they have a business downstairs.
Yes, indeed, indeed.
So she from out here, she's one away, and she's just talking about her experience working with mothers and infants. Let me tell you, I'm not a mother myself. Let me throw that out there. First of all, right? So don't come for me, moms. I am on your side. I'm on your side, right? Don't come for me. All I'm saying is that, we as women, we are a lot of times put on pedestals.
Yes.
Right? A lot of pressure is put on a woman. Further, let's go down mommy's lane. Jesus, Lord have mercy. I don't know how it is deal with these people.
It's heavy.
Right?
Yes.
Because when Fayanne was pregnant and she was performing, all it was vexed.
Right.
Go home and what you're doing, and people say pregnancy is not an illness, huh?
Right, it isn't. It really isn't. It's just a stage of life.
Moms are so versatile.
Absolutely.
But what you're talking about is really about, how do we make sure that we have a society of adults that are well-adjusted, don't have any chronic health problems starting from small, and that is by taking care of mommy.
Yes.
We don't want to put mommy in a glass case, right?
No.
For the 9 months, she can't be in a glass case.
No.
They live in the environment.
She has to live, yes.
Right?
And that is a part of it. She has to be social. She needs to, have the availability of being loved. And that is so important during that time for her cup to be full and overflowing.
Yes.
So whoever daddy is, whether it is a stable relationship where the two are in the same home, or it is a relationship where, things may not be as adjusted as you want it to be at that point. It is so important that whoever is in her circle, it is so important for you to pour into mommy at that time. I especially want to talk about my teenage moms, because I see a lot of teenage moms.
Let me tell you.
Yep.
And as a teenager, that's a very unstable time.
It is a very unstable time. Exactly.
So
exactly. So when you throw in pregnancy hormones into all of that, and then usually when it is a teenage pregnancy, that is not present or partially present, right? So we have several pieces that are coming in there. So whoever is in home, daddy, mommy, auntie, sister, whoever you are to that child, that young woman during that time, pour into her. This is not the time to beat up on your wounded soldier. This is not the time to throw her out the house. This is not the time to put extra pressure. Let's get to a doctor. Let's get proper prenatal care done. Let's have her, really start to study and research breastfeeding, what that entails, and just starting to put those pieces together.
Carissa, there's so much to unpack here because you are talking about, we have to go on a break. guys, I'm going on the break. They're telling me we have to come break. So I'm going on the break, but I just want to say we're going to come back. When we come back,
Yes.
we're going to be talking about what we currently have as a society. Have
Yes.
we done this to ourselves
In a way.
by not doing what you're talking about all those years ago with those mothers, right? And those young women. And in that, because what we're talking about is fixing tomorrow.
Yes.
Right? That's what
Yes.
we're talking about
Absolutely.
today. So we're talking about how are we going to make sure our tomorrow
Yes.
doesn't look like today, right? We want an
Absolutely.
improvement. So we're going to have a quick break, guys. Stick with us. We're going to come back. Carissa, she's a senior dietitian. She's going to be talking about women and children and infants, mothers. Stay tuned. Hi guys, welcome back to Brunch, and we are speaking here with a senior nutritionist. Dietitian is dated, right? We're modernizing,
Everything,
right?
everything.
We're modernizing, and she is a senior dietitian, senior nutritionist at WIC, and she's talking to us about women, mothers, infants. Those are the demographics she works with, the underserved population in terms of moms, right? And what we were talking about before during the break, it is so, this is so important. It's so very important because we don't, as women, because you're a woman first before you become a mom, as women, we live in a society. We don't leave the society simply because you get pregnant and where you are living may not be a good environment.
Right.
You still have to be there.
Absolutely.
Right? You may be working in an environment that, may not be the best, but how does a mom deal with some of those issues? How does give us some tips. What do you tell moms when they come and say, Carissa, I'm living in the environment I'm in is not the best. I would like to breastfeed, but my dude, giving you side eyes, dude. But my dude doesn't want me to breastfeed because he is saying, tell them what you said. He said,
so I've actually had this happen a couple of times in my office where women are interested in breastfeeding because that's a part of my, my nutrition spiel before baby comes. I want to encourage them to breastfeed. And I've had women sitting in my office saying, yes, I do want to breastfeed. I think it is important, or I didn't know it was this important, but now that you've talked to me about it, I am interested. And dad of baby is sitting here and saying, no, your breasts belong to me. Of course, using other maybe derogatory terms in the process. And that is always very startling to me. Oftentimes, I would take that up. There has been once when I've actually asked dad to step outside of the room because I have the right to do that. And I close the door, ask him to sit in the waiting room, and I have a long conversation with mom. My purpose in doing that is looking at the next generation, making sure that that baby has the optimal health, right? So why is daddy so seeing your breast in such a sexualized way that he cannot share that with his child? His child, that is 50% him.
Carissa, she says share, that's not for you.
Well, again, the breast has dual purpose, right?
Yeah, but when she gets pregnant, that is not for you.
That's not for you anymore.
Right? Get your mind. Dads, fathers out there, men, before you become fathers, and dads, you're men. Men out there, we're heading into International Men's Day. Come close to the camera.
Come real close.
Come real close. Let me tell you something, right? If you do not allow these mothers to breastfeed their children, you are guaranteeing that we have as they say in local parlance, we have dotish people. Right? You're dumbing down our society because Carissa's going to tell us the benefits of breastfeeding. Carissa,
Absolutely.
please inform us.
Absolutely.
Inform us about how breastfeeding and that milk is important to developing a child's, not just a psyche, but giving them the best start mentally for their brain development.
Absolutely. So first of all, maybe a lot of people are not aware of this, but your breast milk actually starts developing in the latter months of your pregnancy. And that first milk is actually called colostrum. It's really thick. It's actually a very light gold, yellowish color.
Oh.
We actually call it drops of gold.
Really?
That's the term that we use. Those drops of gold are so important. They're so nutritious for your baby. It's very high in many different minerals and vitamins that baby needs. It is the perfect proportion of carbohydrates and proteins and fats. And many times we don't understand that. We think it's, a lot of people throw it away. If your breast starts secreting before you actually give birth, please collect every single drop. Make sure it's in a sterile container. You can freeze it, you can refrigerate it if it's very close to your delivery time. And we do not expect you to keep milk more than 7 days outside of a deep freeze.
Oh, okay.
But if once you're able to freeze it in a sterile container, I tell moms, I said, listen, clear out a section of the freezer that is just for your milk.
How long can you keep frozen breast milk?
Absolutely, up to 6 months is the general idea. Yes, you can keep it up to 6 months once it's not defrosted and frozen again. So you don't want to change temperatures too much. It's also very important to label your milk AM and PM because your milk changes throughout the day. So people are not aware of that, but your milk actually, so in the early part of the morning, baby's milk is very high in carbs. There's a little bit of protein and it's very low in fats. In the middle of the day, it's a little bit lower in the carbs. The protein is at its highest content and the fat is still at the lowest. In the evenings, the fat is at the highest and your carbs and your proteins come all the way down. So what's the reason for that? It's because of what baby's doing throughout the day. So that morning, get up, have their little bath. They usually are a little bit more alert in the morning. Right. They want to do their little kicking. You want to put them down for tummy time when it's the right age and things like that. Baby has a little bit more carbohydrates. That's the energy source for the brain. And so baby's feeding off of that. In the middle of the day, they kind of tend to take a little bit of a nap during the day. That protein in the middle of the day is helping to stretch their bones, helping to develop skin. As the bones are stretching from internally, then the skin is adjusting to make sure that the bones have space to move, right? So that's the growth process. And in the evening, the reason the fat is so high is so that the baby can actually sleep longer. So exactly, the human body is phenomenal. The female is phenomenal.
Guys, if y'all see my eyes buggering out of my, like.
Yes, it is amazing.
You're trying to tell me that the mother's body is creating a balanced diet
all day
for the baby.
For the baby. As a matter of fact, science proves that if you, let's say baby is at a daycare or baby is staying with your mom or whoever, and let's say you just ran errands or maybe you had to go to work. Some moms have to go to work and that's fine. And then you go pick up baby. Baby's body has interacted with somebody throughout the day that has the flu. Baby's body will tell mommy through pheromones, I had somebody around me today who had the flu. This person touched my hands. This person kissed my hands, which we should not kiss baby's hands. Please don't kiss baby's hands. Yes, leave them alone. Touch their little toes if you want, but don't come up to mommy and kiss. Don't do that. That's not a good idea.
I learned the child is a certain age.
Yes.
Please keep your distance.
Yes.
Do this from far.
Yes.
From far.
Yes.
Leave your people children alone.
Yes.
Don't get them
Absolutely.
sick. Yes.
Absolutely. But here's this interesting thing. When you pick up your baby, let's say you drive about 15, 20 minutes home, do you know that your milk has completely changed its status in those few minutes? So your baby's body would have told you, mommy, somebody was around me today with the flu. You get in that car, you drive home, your body actually raises itself to a slight fever. You may not even be able to feel it. But the reason for that is so that it can create lymphocytes, which are our white blood cells.
Yes.
White blood cells help to fight. And then that is then kind of downloaded into the breast, so to speak. Also, the baby's, the milk will increase its fat content. And what it will do is that when baby drinks that milk, it will begin to fight the flu for the baby. And the fat content is to put baby to sleep for a longer time so that the body is able to fully recover and fight off any form of disease that came its way. That is how unique our bodies are. That is how wonderfully blessed and created we are. Your breast is able to do that for your child.
Moms, y'all are magic. I always knew my mother was magic, but I didn't know how much. Yeah, because she would see me come through the door and she say, you're not feeling well. I'll be like, why this woman
Yes.
always minding my business?
No, it's they know. They know.
Yes.
Especially a breastfeeding mom. I've had
Yes.
moms like they've had a child before and then I interact with
Mm-hmm.
them after and they're saying, listen, I've heard about this breastfeeding thing. I completely formula fed before. Now I'd like to breastfeed. I say, okay, mom, let's do it. Let's go for it. Full
Mm-hmm.
support. As
I
a matter of
love
fact, a
that.
part of our office is
Yeah.
complete lactation consultants to sit
Yes.
with them, to work through the process if baby's tongue-tied, if baby's not latching well, all
Right.
of that process.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so we have moms come back and say, this is so different. I know this baby. Because
Uh-huh.
apart from the breastfeeding process where you're actually releasing nutrition and you're feeding your baby, that emotional contact, those looking in the eyes of
Yes.
your child, studying your child's face. And
Yes.
that child, if you notice when they're breastfeeding, they're all up in your face. They're looking at every
It's very
crevice
true.
of
I've seen
you.
it.
Yes, they're holding on to you. They
Yeah.
love that. They're in
Yes.
that moment. Oftentimes when I get home and I watch the 6 o'clock or the 6:30 evening news,
Mm-hmm.
my husband would tell you, I'll be looking and I'm like, sometimes somebody goes across the screen, they've been arrested, here's the mugshot. And the first thing that comes to my mind is, was this child breastfed?
Yeah.
Because it
Oh,
does make a
gosh.
difference in your emotional stability as you grow
Yes.
older. So that time, that connection with mommy
Yes.
from age 0 to 6 months is important. We encourage it all the way to 24 to 36 months. But at least for that first 6 months of life, the perfect food for your child is
It's
breast
breast
milk.
milk.
No cereals, no fruit, none of that extra stuff. The only other thing we will
Yeah.
add to that is some water. And that depends also on culture. That's what I've
Mm-hmm.
learned by living in the US, that every culture is a little bit different with that.
Yes.
Some people believe that there's enough water in the breast milk.
Mm-hmm.
And also your breast milk changes as you feed. So
Right.
that what we call the foremilk is full of water. So a lot of water in
Right.
it. And then as the longer the baby feeds, then you get into what we call hind milk, which is the
Oh.
really heavy nutritious stuff.
This is a whole, like, you could go to university and study this thing. This,
Yes, you can.
this breastfeeding thing and this breast.
Yes.
Listen,
Yes.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Because we're talking about moms and people become mothers in many different ways,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
How do you treat with moms, from your experience, how do you treat with children, I guess, and moms who are probably adopting or taking care of, a family,
Yes.
the child in the family,
Yes.
the mom or, the family dynamic has changed.
Absolutely.
And they now have to go live with a relative,
Yes.
even from baby.
Yes.
That person doesn't have breast milk. What do you all advise? How do we deal
Great
with
question. Great question. We actually have adoptive moms who
Mhm.
do get breast milk.
that? Yeah.
Your body will change. It depends on how you connect with that baby.
Right.
There's actually medication to help as well. So there are people who use medication if they know that the process is coming and they
Right.
want to intentionally breastfeed that baby to
Mhm.
really solidify that connection. There are moms who will actually take medication to prepare their body. So basically what the medication is doing is telling your body that baby is coming, be prepared.
Right.
So you actually go into the colostrum process and then your milk actually decides to discharge.
That's so important for people to note because a lot of times in the Caribbean our adoptions are usually because it's something happening in the family, right? We don't
Yes.
really adopt outside of the
Right.
family. So, if you are thinking of adoption, don't let it stop you this conversation about breastfeeding and connecting with your child.
Oh no.
You can form connections any which
Absolutely.
way, right?
Absolutely.
I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah.
The best way, the most, important and easy way, obviously, is, you're the actual mother to do the breastfeeding.
Yes.
But if that can't happen, please, guys out there, women out there, you're thinking of adopting, please don't think that you're going to be outside of the loop. You're doing something negative.
Not at all.
Right?
Not
you're
at
really
all.
going to be helping that child if
Absolutely.
you're doing an adoption.
Yes.
Whether or not you're the actual parents. We're
The
talking
actual
about
biological.
people. Yes, we're talking
Yes.
about freezing breast milk, and perhaps you can
Absolutely.
even look at getting breast milk from,
And that is
somebody else.
Yes. And
right?
if there is a relationship, which this is very important, we know through study that if a baby is being adopted, if you can keep an open relationship with the biological mother and the child's biological family, that is very important to that child's development.
Yeah.
As much as a child is, so to speak, a clear whiteboard that you can then fill by training and what have you.
Yes.
It is so important to know that there are certain traits that will come out of this child that comes from their biological structure.
That you may not know anything
about.
If you're not
and you will never understand it until you stay connected to that birth mother. So if birth mom, which we do have this a lot, if birth mom can supply the milk by pumping, so we encourage moms to pump. If you cannot bring baby directly to the breast, we want you to definitely go ahead and pump. Pump that milk and store that milk and bring it to that baby because it is so important.
Carissa, I don't know if it's because I love to talk, but we need more time.
I know.
we need more time. The thing she's talking about is so important.
Yes.
We're wrapping up, guys. We're here with Carissa, and she is the senior nutritionist at WIC, and she is a Tobago girl, right?
Yes.
She's from about here, Trinidad and Tobago, right? She's about here.
Yes,
and she's talking to us about some seriously important aspects of womanhood, motherhood, childbearing. Women, mothers, y'all are magical.
Yes.
Don't forget, dads are important. We're heading into International Men's Day. Men, y'all are extremely important. Granny, grandpa, everybody involved in the process. This childbearing thing is a community
It really
effort.
is. Takes a village.
We're hearing that. Mom can't do it all by herself. It's a community effort. Mom needs support. Baby needs support from inception. Once we're going that way, right? So just putting it out there. We have a trivia question coming up, and we don't want you all to miss out on getting the answer right. And then we're heading on to our other segments. Thank you for being here with us. And thank you, Carissa. This was so informative.
I'm happy to
I can't believe it. Jay, you have an amazing job. I can't wait for you to come back. And, and don't forget the trivia. What's the trivia, guys? Help us out here. What is the trivia for today? Tobago trivia question is, what is the name of the first man to swim from Tobago to Trinidad? Again, the question is, what is the name of the first man to swim from Tobago to Trinidad? I think we're giving away some information here. It should be the first person because you already tell them it's a man.
Yeah.
Right? They're already ahead of the game. Yeah, this question is giving away stuff, man. So check it out. I have some answers for you all a little later. But that's an important thing too, right? That ferrying and getting between Trinidad and Tobago. But Carissa, again, thank you for being here with us. I hope we see each other again soon.
Let's do it.
Of course. And next, we're heading to speak to the primary SDA school with the principal and the teacher. So stay tuned.